What's going on, horror gang? Welcome to I Shot Him Six Times YouTube horror movie channel. As you know, I'm your host Marcus. Be sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel, as well as hit that notification icon to get all the latest content updates to the channel. In this video, I am going to discuss why did Sam Carpenter lie to Mindy Meeks Martin in a deleted scene in Scream 5. Before I get into it, let's hit that intro. I shot him 6 times. Alright guys, so as I stated at the beginning of the video, I want to have a discussion about Samantha Carpenter. Why did she lie to Mindy Meeks Martin in the Scream 5 deleted scene? Now, if you own this movie digitally and watch the deleted scenes, you know what scene I'm talking about. The scene after Wes and Judy Hicks are murdered, Samantha Carpenter pulls up, etc. Now, in this deleted scene, we actually see Mindy Meeks Martin hanging out, watching everything unfold on the side of the van, the reporter's van that Gail Weathers pulled up in. In the theatrical version, she was nowhere near the scene of the crime. So her presence there obviously made her look suspicious, which caused Sam to go over and ask her, "What are you doing here?" Mindy responds, "I heard the police sirens. What are you doing here?" Sam responds, "I heard the police sirens too," and basically decided to follow them to, Wes and Judy's house and, the scene of the crime. Well, I'm going to share with you guys an 8-second clip from the movie, and then I'm going to share with you guys why I kind of have some issues with Sam's response. So here goes the 8-second clip, guys. Okay guys, so as you've seen in the video and in the brief photo that I posted up there, you can clearly see that Sam is arriving to the scene of Judy and Wes's death scene. You can clearly see that when she's driving up, there are no cop cars driving in front of her, etc. And from the way she's looking like she's pulling up, it looks like she was pulling up from the top of that back end of that street. Looks like she was coming from a good distance, but she was on that main street already. Didn't look like she made any turns, nothing. Looked like she was coming straight down that street. Now, the issues I have with her saying she heard the sirens, which led her to, show up when Mindy, questioned her in this deleted scene, is one, the cops are already parked. Their sirens are already off. They're already doing what they got to do, etc. But the more important reason, and you can see it in that photo, is the ambulance had just pulled up to the scene right as soon as Sam got there. Now, why this is significant is because, as you can also see, the ambulance is coming from the completely opposite direction as Sam. So, with that being said, unless Sam is the bionic woman and has these crazy, can pick up on any siren signal, etc., she would have to be really close by to the scene of the crime already in order to hear all those sirens, especially with no cop car in front of her pulling up. Now, if there was a cop car pulling up with her, like in front of her, and then pulling off to the side like she did, then I'd say, okay, obviously she heard the sirens and she followed them, because that's literally what she did. That's not what the clip shows. If you really watch the clip, you can really tell that she's already on that street. And what prompts her to stop is she sees the yellow tape and then all the cops. It wasn't sirens that she heard that made her be like, okay, let me go check this out, which I would think is already weird anyway, because we all know she was out driving around. Mindy accused her of being a killer, etc. She was out to clear her head. Unless a cop car or ambulance went flying by her and she decided to follow them, there's no way she could have heard those sirens from a distance. No way whatsoever. And as we see in the clip, there are no cop cars that were directly right in front of her, or ambulance that was directly right in front of her, pulling up like directly in front of her as she was pulling up. The ambulance that was pulling up was coming from the complete opposite direction, which makes it very, very difficult for me to believe Sam when she says to Mindy, I heard the sirens and followed them too. Now, one could question me and say, well, what do you think about Mindy's excuse for hearing the sirens? I believe that Mindy and Wes live close by to each other. So what I believe happened in Mindy's case is she was at her house, all these cop cars, etc. start flying by her house, so she, decided, especially with everything going on, let me take a look, let me see what's going on, especially Wes did just leave her house. So I think Mindy's explanation for hearing the sirens would be a little bit more plausible based on that fact. Now, I'm not saying that's what happened. We don't know if that's what happened. But I'm more or less guessing that is what happened in Mindy's case. She saw all these cop cars flying by her house. She realized they were close by because, like I said, I do believe Mindy and Wes live close to each other. And she decided to go check it out. I think that is more plausible than Sam being out for a joyride and somehow hearing a bunch of sirens from a distance. So she tailed where the sirens were coming from and decided to investigate. I'm just not buying that. I'm not buying that at all. Now, if you watch my channel, if you watch my videos, everybody will clearly pick up quickly that I think Sam is a mastermind, one of two masterminds, in this new Scream trilogy that will be revealed later on in the movie. And this is just one of those quick pieces of evidence, if you will, if you want to call it that, that kind of makes me believe and makes her look suspicious that she isn't what she's being portrayed to be as the final girl, as this victim. This is another one of those instances in this movie, even though this is a deleted scene, this is another one of those instances that makes me kind of be suspicious of Sam and her character. There is no way she could have heard them sirens from that far of a distance. She would literally have to be so close to that house. And if you watch her pulling up, you can tell she was coming from the far end of the street. It's not like she was turning onto that street. She was already on that street. And what prompted her to stop and investigate was seeing the yellow tape. It was not hearing sirens. So I call bullshit on Sam's excuse to Mindy on why she was there at the crime scene of Judy Hicks and Wes Hicks. But that's my take on this scene, guys. I want to hear from you. Hit the comment section and let me know what you guys think. Do you think that Sam was being shady and lied to Mindy about hearing sirens, which prompted her to pull up to the scene of the crime of Wes and Judy Hicks? Or do you think that her reasoning for hearing sirens, even though she might have been from a distance, is plausible? And do you think that I'm just overreacting to this scene? Hit the comment section. I want to hear from you guys. But okay, guys, I'm out of here for this video. If you like this content, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Your support is greatly appreciated. As well as hit that notification icon to get all the latest content update to the channel. Once again, this is I Shot Him 6 Times YouTube horror movie channel. I'm your host, Marcus. I'm out for this one, guys. I will catch you later. Be sure to also follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Thank you.